Hello people, in this video we want to look at Ludwig's angina. Angina actually is some pain or discomfort, right? Ludwig is the name of the person, the scientist. So Ludwig's angina, so it is coming under this deep neck infections. So look at this, it's the neck, right? They're actually here, submandibular region it is. So Ludwig's angina is infection of the submandibular space. Are you able to see? It is the infection of the submandibular space. So it is a deep neck infection. It's coming in under that. So let us look at the anatomy. First, they are explaining the anatomy here of the submandibular space because submandibular space is affected, right? So the submandibular space, what is happening? There's a mylohyoid muscle which they are showing here. The entire submandibular space is divided into two because of this mylohyoid muscle. Up you have the sublingual space and down you have the submaxillary space and the submental space. Submental and submaxillary, both they should say. Submental, submaxillary compartment is below the mylohyoid muscle. So did you get it? The submandibular space is divided into sublingual, submental and submaxillary space. Got it right? So these three spaces put together only becomes a submandibular space. So any of this can be infected or everything can be infected in Ludwig's angina. So submandibular space, guys, it lies between the floor of mouth and tongue on one side and the superficial layer of deep cervical fascia. That is where it lies. It extends from the from the hyoid bone to the mandible, extending between the hyoid bone and mandible. Okay, it's divided into two compartments. You understood now? Sublingual compartment, submaxillary and submental compartment. So two compartments only. Okay. The two compartments are continuous around the posterior border of the mylohyoid muscle. In the posterior border, both of these spaces are continuous. Something like this, maybe you can see. Both the spaces are continuous in the posterior border of the mylohyoid muscle. Mylohyoid muscle. Here from the inner side they are showing this right lower jaw, right, mandible. They have cut it here. From inside what you see, here you have the teeth, right? These are the molar teeth. These are the molar, what teeth? Molar teeth.
Molar teeth.
And these are the premolar teeth.
Premolar teeth.
Yeah. And they have shown the attachment of the mylohyoid muscle. This is the attachment of the mylohyoid muscle. What do you think this is? It looks like what?
It looks like a leg.
Yeah, but see, it has teeth. So what exactly is it? It's a mandible. It's the jaw. Yeah, where your teeth is. Yeah. So there, because of this tooth infection, this person's cheek got swollen like this. See? Because of tooth infection. You saw?
Tooth infection.
Yeah, because of that, this entire space has got swollen. Can you see? Okay. So guys, look at this. The roots of molar teeth project below and those of premolars above the attachment of mylohyoid muscle. So mylohyoid muscle, you can see the roots of the molars, they project below the attachment of mylohyoid muscle. But premolars don't seem to go below that level. You understood, right? Some anatomy they're explaining here before we can actually understand Ludwig angina. So what did you understand so far? Submandibular divided again into sublingual, submental, submaxillary, then attachment of mylohyoid muscle also you saw, and how it is different from molars and premolars roots. Okay, so what causes the infection of that space, guys? Basically it is dental infection and submandibular, guys, this word is strange. Okay, sialadenitis. This is like the infection of salivary glands. Infection of the salivary glands. Which are the salivary glands, you know? You already saw the glands in that photo, if you remember. See, you have the submandibular gland here. What else, you know? Sublingual gland also is there here. Isn't it? So, infection of the salivary glands can lead to infection of the space. Very good. Injuries of oral mucosa. So, you hurt yourself. Oral mucosa. Fractures of the mandible. Okay, fractures of the mandible account for other causes. So, can you summarize the causes? Causes, please. So, can you summarize? Dental and then submandibular sialadenitis, then oral mucosa injury, then fracture of the mandible. Okay, that's it, right? Only three things they have given here. In others. Okay. Then let us read about this dental infection a little more. They account for 80% of the cases. Roots of premolar, they often lie above the attachment of the mylohyoid. Yes, we know that premolars roots lie above the attachment of the mylohyoid. So what infection they'll cause? They'll cause infection of the sublingual space. Very easy to say. While roots of the molar extend below, up to or below the mylohyoid muscle line where it attaches that line. So they can cause submaxillary space infection. So sublingual and submaxillary, they are not talking about submental here. Because of the premolars, you can have sublingual infection. Because of the molars, you can have submaxillary space infection. Okay. What are we looking at? We are looking at infection of the submandibular space. In that, who can infect the top part? The premolars. Who can infect the bottom part? Molars. Very good. Next time I will not ignore my tooth pain. Okay, we saw all the causes. Then bacteriology. Which are those bacteria, you know? Alpha hemolytic streptococcus and staphylococcus and bacteroids. These three, if you want, you can remember. See, this is showing what? Alpha hemolytic streptococci. Cocci alpha. This is the way it does hemolysis, right? That is, then you have the streptococcus. Staphylococcus, streptococcus, bacteroids. Rare we are leaving. They're rare, we really are not bothering at the moment. Let us look at this, a little more information on this streptococcus classification. What is that alpha, beta? See, you have streptococci, main classification is aerobic, anaerobic. In aerobic, you have the hemolysis. Who does alpha hemolysis? Who does beta hemolysis? Who does gamma hemolysis? Our culprit here is alpha hemolytic group. This is viridins. So streptococcus viridins, you can remember, tooth decay. So mainly these viridins only are responsible for tooth decay. So remember, okay. So this one, alpha hemolytic, the viridans group. Nice, right? So we'll add that here. Viridans, right? Okay, what are these bacteroids? These bacteroids are anaerobic, they are saying, guys. These are gram-negative anaerobic, obligate anaerobic bacilli which cause diarrheal disease. They are anaerobic, remember. Okay, so all the three causes you got. Which are the three causes of Ludwig's angina? Alpha hemolytic streptococcus, staphylococcus, bacteroids. Very good. Guys, let us continue. We will now move to clinical features of Ludwig angina. What did we just finish? Bacteriology. Now let's look at clinical features. What will we look at?
Clinical features?
Yeah, clinical features. Okay. So basically what will happen if these people have swelling like this? They will have difficulty in swallowing. They can't swallow. That is called as odynophagia. Odynophagia. Phagia, yeah. And they'll have trismus, that is locked jaw they will have. Then if it is in the sublingual space, what will happen? The structures in the floor of mouth are swollen. Tongue is pushed back. Okay. So this is if it is in the sublingual space. Okay. And what happens if it is in submaxillary, submental and okay. In these two, if it is there, then what will happen, you know? There is submandibular region is becoming swollen and tender and imparts woody hard feel. So it will be woody hard, the submandibular region. There is cellulitis of the tissues rather than frank abscess. So there's no, they're not actually saying there's an abscess, but there is cellulitis, there's inflammation of the cells. There's no pus or abscess or something, is it? The tongue is pushed upwards and backwards, and that will be a threat to the airway. These people will need tracheostomy sometimes. Laryngeal edema. So this is very important. There's a threat to the airway. Who is threatening the airway? The tongue. The tongue itself. The tongue itself is threatening the airway. Say airway.
Airway.
Yeah, airway. So these are the clinical features. Let's move on. How do you treat Ludwig's angina, guys? Systemic antibiotics, you will name some antibiotics. Then incision and drainage, you can go via the oral cavity if it is the sublingual space. That is if it is the upper side, right? The sublingual space, you can go transorally. Orally, you can go. Externally, you will have to go if it involves the submaxillary space. And they're explaining here a transverse incision, that is a horizontal kind of incision, extending from one angle of the mandible to the other is made with vertical opening in midline. with a blunt hemostat. Very often it is serous fluid rather than frank pus. That's what they said, right? It is not, you won't have pus, you will actually have cellulitis. So what you will get out is serous fluid. So it is serous fluid that they are going to get here, not pus. Transverse incision they are making from one angle of the mandible to the other. Okay. Like this. A vertical opening in the midline musculature of tongue. Tracheostomy they will do if airway is endangered. When will they do that? When if the tongue is pushed upward and backward and this person is choking, threaten, if there is airway threatened, then they will do this tracheostomy. Airway management basically this is. So what did we just look at? The treatment of what? Of Ludwig's angina. So you will give them, yeah, Ludwig's angina. They'll give some antibiotics, okay, because this person has infection, okay. And or if it is so big, the swelling, they will put knife and they will cut inside and they'll remove all the they're saying abscess, but actually it is not an abscess. It's more like a drainage. Whatever is there fluid, they will drain it, okay. And they can go intraorally or externally. That is called as external, okay. Then tracheostomy they will do if the airway is threatened, okay. Then what are the complications if you don't do anything? Spread of infection will happen to the parapharyngeal, retropharyngeal spaces and then to the mediastinum. This is standard for any deep neck space infection, guys. So behind the pharynx infection, parapharyngeal with the either side of the pharynx you can have infection, parapharyngeal space, retropharyngeal space. Airway obstruction due to laryngeal edema can be there because of laryngeal edema, airway obstruction, or the tongue because of that. Laryngeal edema, yeah. Septicemia. Septicemia, because of all this bacteria entering the blood, pneumonia can happen. Aspirational pneumonia. What will they aspirate on? Okay. So anyways, so we're done with Ludwig's angina. Let's take a recap. It's a deep neck space infection. Angina is pain, discomfort. So actually Ludwig's angina is simply to say it is the infection of the submandibular space. What is it? It is infection of submandibular space, okay. So the anatomy we saw, the submandibular space is divided by the mylohyoid muscle into sublingual space and the submental and the submaxillary spaces, and there are respective glands here, and you saw the premolars and the molars. The molar roots are going up to or below the mylohyoid muscle insertion. The premolars are not actually going beyond the insertion of the mylohyoid muscle. So, in dental infections, Ludwig angina can happen, especially because of the premolars, the sublingual space can get affected, and because of the molars, the submaxillary space can get infected. And in even other causes can be the infection of the salivary glands, that is the submandibular sialadenitis. Say it, guys, submandibular sialadenitis. Then injuries of oral mucosa, fractures of the mandible. All these can cause Ludwig's angina. Then bacteriology, blame three things: alpha hemolytic streptococci, the viridans group, you can blame the staphylococcus and the bacteroids, which is gram-negative. Then clinical features, they'll have odynophagia, trismus, structures in the floor of mouth are swollen, tongue is pushed back, and submaxillary space, the woody hard feeling will be there, cellulitis will be there, not exactly abscess. There is threatening of the airway because of the tongue going backwards and upwards, and laryngeal edema also can threaten the airway. How will you treat? Give antibiotics, incision drainage. Remember, two routes, intraoral, external. Tracheostomy if airway is threatened. Complications, it can spread to parapharyngeal, retropharyngeal spaces and even to the mediastinum. Or airway obstruction due to laryngeal edema or because of the pushing back of the tongue, swelling and pushing up and back of the tongue. Septicemia can happen. Aspiration pneumonia. In this video, we are done with Ludwig's angina. Hope to see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.